Hey you guys, it's MJ. How are you? So, energies are lifting, which is fantastic, and I can honestly thank you guys for that. Just feeling lots of online love from this community, and I'm thankful. So, yay. Today's share, I want to talk about true authenticity and how that is an inner awareness of self as one, the totality of your creation, your perception, and ultimately that really is the end of judgment in such a way and confusion. So, as a reflection, and I see this coming more and more up in the rise of the empath and highly sensitive communities. Those of us who have often felt kind of pushed aside or not able to fit in for most of our lives, feeling quite alienated and abused in such a way. And that shifting is an inner awareness expansion and evolution for humanity, and it's really beautiful. And the continuation or evolution of my own path as someone desiring this more harmonious world is that increasingly so I'm guided to disengage from like external knowledge, as it were. So certainly by the time I was endeavoring to write the Fearless Life Guide, I increasingly was not feeling a pull to ingest other information, to read other teachers' teachings, to, uh, read anything else, because this awareness as the self as one was so kind of taking over, so visceral, so much merging. And again, that's an awareness of that infinite broader self, that energetic awareness that, well, if we are the one vision, if we are that one creator, if we are one with all that we see and feel, then that is like the most beautiful kind of endeavoring, because you can truly access a creation from that place of grace and benevolence, and it isn't coming from a place of trying to power over with knowledge, or trying to be better than through knowing of facts, or using materiality as a means to dictate and enslave ultimately. And 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 there's a courage leap one must take, because we are so indoctrinated to be slaves, to be learners. This is the information, take it for what it is, and don't step outside of that. That's sort of a simple broad sweep of the kind of mainstream education agenda, religious indoctrination, all of that stuff. And those of you who watched that very short bit of the Sasha interview, you really resonate with some of his language, even as far as, well-intentioned, well-meaning humans, and at the same time we're still in subtle forms deflecting our power onto external. So, and it's par for the course. We often hook into teachers and teachings along the way, and then hopefully that teacher somehow continues to reflect back the inner knowing in oneself, and so we don't actually get attached to constantly seeking the answers from an external source point. And yet at the same time we're engaging with one another to continue evolving that reflection so that it can become more harmonious and it can become more empowering. So in essence, we want our guides and teachers to continue to empower that the truth is only ever coming from within the self, because the self is one, the self is connected. And when we more and more merge with that, more divine reflections, more aligned people, places, and things continue to emerge out of our reality, because that's what we're vibrating. We've owned and transformed enough of our own judgment and density and lack of forgiveness. It's all kind of the same. We've transformed enough of that to have an awareness of what is going on in any given context, in any given situation. And ultimately, the more we really trust and learn to listen and intuit, so we listen to that inner teacher really is it. It is so refined and so on point that we increasingly never go back to the other. So, and part of that could say, like, sometimes y'all share stuff and that's beautiful and brilliant and I appreciate it. And at the same time, I often reflect back. It doesn't mean I'm going to go watch it. It doesn't mean that I want to infiltrate myself into your awareness or your teaching or your teacher at that point, or books that people recommend. I increasingly, I kind of, it sets me into a different energy space when somebody starts to tell me what I need to read and what I need to do. And there again is the empathic awareness of energetically where somebody might be feedbacking from within self, again, because we are all one. Hence that it does end, and I'm saying it's like the end of judgment and confusion in an empowering way, where it doesn't mean we're not going to get like in the feels. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have highs and lows, and in those low moments sometimes be like working stuff out. But no longer can we be baffle-gaffed by people or dominated by people, because again, that inner one awareness is the dominant frequency, or the dominant vibration of pulling in, right? So of that vibration, you're aware, you're putting it out, and so you're aware, you're always pulling in more reflections to keep learning about the self as one. And it is so powerful that you can understand why there's all these different veils of perhaps beings and entities, whatever you want to say, aspects of self that want to be like, no, you couldn't be that powerful, or no, you can't create your own reality, I'm creating your reality, you should listen to me. and again, because of that empathic awareness of ego and the different edges of ego, which has often been a massive challenge for those of us who have been highly sensitive all of our lives, right? Like, yeah, just the kind of shades and how it feeds this kind of power that isn't, or no longer is it kind of serving a human evolution in that sense, right? So we endeavor to really break that down from within ourselves, and to really look at areas where we're still grasping, areas where we're still seeking validation. And that can be in any spiritual circles, yoga circles, academia, churches, businesses, places where we can like work our way up, or all of those have that construct in it, that hierarchical construct of working your way up the ladder, be a master's and then a PhD and then and somehow that beefs us up in the world, the old paradigm that like, oh, once I was a priest and now I'm a bishop, therefore I'm more knowledgeable, I have more wisdom. And these are subtle edges within the human condition in this hologram of a kind of convoluted disempowered enslavement separation paradigm, which in a really simplified way you could say, wow, what an experiment, wow, what a game, what a thing to play. And any of us who have done some kind of past life regression therapy or whatever, it's not that any of us are better or worse or higher or lower, it's just that in our soul's growth and our soul's evolution, we will have invited certain experiences, often extremely painful, mega dark torture experiences. And that's the aspect of self-denial, self-betrayal in a soul's journey of separation. And precisely, Scott. And that's where I would say, have a look at the interview with Sasha that I just published, and have a look at some of it. Hey, Scott Latwell, real quick. Have a look at his some of his other videos about the New Earth Project and what's going on there, because that's the language he's using is very much that we at this event horizon where critical mass is choosing to be the 0 point from within self. That's an event horizon, a moment in the now here where we are committed to this 0 point, this place where, wait a minute, there's this one planet that we're all telling a story around. Why don't we shift the story to one where we all deserve to be here, we all deserve to belong here, and thus we deserve to be free here. We deserve to create and be free from that place. I'm aware at the same time that there's a soul's evolution where that level of conscious creatorship, or that level of power from within self in this organized reality. Hey, not so fancy Nancy. I love your name. That requires a responsibility to the whole. That's why we have this empathic awareness that is kind of new for humanity coming out of the Dark Ages. It's that it doesn't fit into anything in the old, if that makes sense. It doesn't fit into any kind of clinical paradigm, because that paradigm is all from the core wound of separation. Hence that random sensitive knowing from within, and then all of this inner work we've been doing for so long to then like put all these pieces together and go, it's true that the birthing of the new, it's actually happening here in the now via our own vehicle of creation. And of course, if we're wanting to all live in harmony on this planet, we do need to be living in the heart. We need to be living within that frequency of the one creator, so that we don't go back into these convoluted enslavement systems, which are just layer upon layer of creative outpouring from the core wound of separation. And it's like we're reeling it all back in. We're owning and transforming all of those threads of disempowerment from within the one self creator. Now, in the Fearless Life Guide, it goes straight into the emotional field, that central pillar of a feeling center. I often just envision it like a pillar of light from within the consciousness field that I am. And the emotional field is part and parcel of our freedom and our ability to detach and non-judge. It's that one's experience is one's experience as they're projecting their field outward. Now, when we come into contact with other energies, it's up to us to discern whether or not that energy is in resonance with our total creatorship, or if it's dissonance, if it's not in resonance. And that is up to us to continually choose our optimal threshold for creation, which again, in simple language, it just means feeling better, feeling more empowered, feeling this idea, as it were, of true authenticity. What does that mean? Nothing, as much as it's a feeling in trust with the self. And that deep knowing and that deep trust can only really be honed and practiced and discerned from within your own creative vessel, the mind, body, spirit complex, right? And the kind of unifying aspect of the mind, body, spirit complex is the emotion, is the energy that you are, that's moving and feedbacking with your total consciousness field. And so, yes, there's a certain, maybe few leaps that we have to take as creators to break free from the chains of enslavement that dictate to us, well, you have to be reading lots of books, or we should be listening to so-and-so because they have 500,000 followers and thus they must be more important. And the subtle layers with which we attach idol worship and gurudom and all of that externalization, those of us very much pioneering a new reality, a new paradigm from a new level playing field, are asking of ourselves to detach completely from all of those threads. Not so fancy Nancy. I definitely res with that, and I can only really say it's just more practice, like, and you will invite the lessons and the learning into your field uh, to, I guess, shine light onto the naivety, and the naivety is totally intertwined with people pleasing, and then the people pleasing threads are still operating from disempowered energies, and again, we all I can testify to is that we will continue to invite the lessons that will honor our ability to shine that authenticity, to shine that depth of knowing, and the trust is all that you need. And that's the thing for me to reflect back this sort of epic 15 or almost 20-year journey and yet life path that those of us have been on, we can resonate with. It's that I've been in trust since I bought the one-way ticket to England, and I'm 20 years old, just with my backpack, like, divine one grace, like, I have this amazing spiritual awareness, we're all one and we all love each other, and surely everybody feels the same way, right? And then it's not been this kind of clear cut, like, trust the divination path. It's been like, like, trying to step back in, trying to please people, trying to be good, trying to be nice, trying to love light, all of that. And that's even more the continuation of my journey of being committed to this platform, and the online community reflecting it back to me, is that all of that at some point on the journey can be disengaged. It can be left behind. You don't have to be nice, just be true to who you are. It's not our job to make other people feel good. That's their job. That's part of this next level leap, right? It's that it's like self-awareness is the total awareness, and it's not a selfish thing in the way the old paradigm would have us believe. That's part of the enslavement programming, right? It's like, just do what I'm asking you to do and everything will be fine. But what we're all kind of waking up to is like, yeah, but it's not fucking fine. We're just in repeat patterns. We're in patterns of war. We're in patterns of poverty. We're in patterns of let's just talk about all this shit, but never really find the solution and or vibrate and live the solution. And that's a big part of this, the nature of this share. It's that I have a book by my bedside table for entertainment purposes, but no longer, certainly for quite an extended phase, which my old paradigm self is sometimes like, oh, weird, this is so weird. I'm not reading. I'm not reading other people's stuff. I'm not watching much else on video. And then, if anything, I'm just encouraging myself to kind of fun entertainment stuff, like stuff that I find interesting or enjoyable, stuff that makes me feel good when I have downtime or alone time. And you just want the kind of sense of company, which some people could say is escapism, but again, it's about living as a human being on this planet with all of the resources and all of the beauty that we have created, and then channeling that into the kind of optimal creation that we can feel into. I'm going to read that. Break the old game, break the matrix, and to do that, we need to break the calendar. Few people understand this. Mandala. Oh, I'm coloring a mandala as we speak. Okay, one of the guys, Thomas J. Brown, that I did an interview with from New Earth as well, he talks about mandala effect massively, actually, the mandala. So, and correct, I would feel into, was it Scott? Regarding the calendar. Yes, this is true, because we're actually totally breaking through or shattering construct of time. If there's no time, there's no calendar in such a way. There's no fix, hold on the limited perception of time as a construct of this reality. Hence how we continue to transform and merge into our kind of more ethereal selves or etheric selves, i.e. the enlightenment. Ooh, interesting. Yeah, well, Scott, and this is an interesting insight because of a share or two ago, and this new awareness of this corrupted motherboard that I spoke of, is that is how rooted in, like, from within my own awareness anyway, how rooting it out it is becoming. It's like, again, some of the darkest tunnels of our awareness, perception, and thus creatorship is being rooted out. Like, we in this conversation are shining light onto that motherboard, that game board. And in us doing this, we're actually going, that game board has no power over me. And then next level, what I see into is more people owning, transforming via their emotional bodies, hence the limbic system breaking free from that trigger feedback loop of the fear system. And then more and more people do that. And already in my kind of awareness community, there are people who are going to usher en masse soul contract revocation ceremonies, where on our soul level, and I've done this in my own life, well, it's work from within self always, and as long as we're doing it, we are doing it, and then we can reflect that back to one another. And the more of us who do it, the easier it gets for more and more, because we are one, that collective frequency ripples out, and more people wake up with the awareness that we've maybe taken 10, 15, 20 years to embody. Because of the impact of embodiment, more souls are just waking up and hitting into that 0 point much more quickly, because they have access to it, because we're accessing it. So yes, we are breaking free. We are moving into that space. There was a thought, and I've lost her now. I'll go back to some of your guys' comments and see. Yeah, so my awareness, we're unplugging from that kind of corrupted motherboard, which is still an aspect of our separation self, enslavement self. And we are pulling it back in, and then we're birthing it out. And this event, this 0 point, is a here now moment in our expression of true authenticity. So, well, and unplugging, right? Hence what I'm talking about is, don't plug into mainstream media, don't plug into other people's dissonance, don't plug into any feedback loop that doesn't feel good for us, right? We are choosing to create from this 0 point of, let's wipe the board clean. Let's start from a fresh slate as these compassionate, loving, and empowered creators, not feeding those loops of dissonance, not feeding those loops of unconscious creatorship, whether in self or other. And again, it's really one and the same thing, hence our ability to constantly be in this sort of reflective merging of all of your experiences. And I really notice it, the less naive I am and the more empowered I am, that I can quickly kind of feed back a dissonance and then merge with it as I am one with other. And this is true. It is embedded in our English language, and yet via this channel and continual dialogue, the old constructed language is shifting, morphing, you could say, that the ways that we're using language and also operating from within our energetic stream is and shifting. And this is part of telepathy, telepathic communication, and that next level is that ultimately, and this is starting to happen in a lot of our communities anyway, where there is a knowing, a telepathic knowing in connectivity, and yet, yeah, we're programmed to talk, and talking is often what can muddle in how we're interpreting and stuff. It's so, but only if we're only in the mental, only if we're attached to words, right? We can be so in the present that words are kind of superfluous to the channel we're putting out. Oh yes, I'd agree with that. Glitching the alphabet. In fact, I would also agree with this whole shift. This whole paradigm shift is a perpetual rising in energetic awareness, which is glitching the entire hologram, which is glitching the entire matrix, right? Awesome. So it's beautiful, it's wonderful, it's pretty weird as well. Hence why I feel this call, and many of us do, to share and to put out these new energetic, not new, they just are frequency And well, because we are the creators, and that's part of where we are. This belt, this portal, this moment that we are in now. It's that we've cleared so much karma, you could say. We've transformed so much genetic ancestral programming that we really are, as a collective, now moving into this space of the here, now, present moment. Hence why we continue to reflect, to vision, to hone and refine the words and the thought streams and the stories that are going over in our mind, because we're ever more aware of our creative capacity and our creative responsibility. And this is probably why I feel called to continue sharing here, because this community is self-aware, and this community is reflecting back more awarenesses and also accountability, and or simply responsibility, to not fall into laying down a dogma or a process, to not fall into some kind of gurudom worship, to not fall into hooking back in to an economy or financial construct that allows one to either sidestep truth and or dominate truth, right? And that is something I'm just feeling into and toying with, where again it's the subtleties of a very brilliant mental scape and mind and thought and knowing in that field, and yet still a dissonance with an empowered allowing of the emotional field via non-judgment, because we very quickly we judge someone's reaction, or we judge, oh well, you're crying and so that's what that means, but that's a judgment against someone's process, perhaps, right? And that's and actually in my practice and when I hold space, that's a beautiful thing, to just allow someone without any trigger from within self to be angry and spew the anger. And or a lot of times in yoga sessions, people have lots of tears that flood out at shavasana, or at any point really, and to just have no judgment, just allow that being to feel and process whatever is coming up, whatever is coming through, because the system, as it were, would have us deny our emotions and just fit into this limited construct and achieve and be right and learn information to then regurgitate it via these limited and dogmatic imprints that we all have in that old chasing up and being recognized and being important. None of that actually endures externally. So and we see it in the fall of certain celebrity, or we see it in our social construct of having a midlife crisis. To me, those midlife crises appear because of these deep core wounds of unworthiness, not enoughness, blah, blah, blah. Hence non-judgment, because I've witnessed it in some of the wealthiest people in the world that I've worked with. This is seriously, don't judge a book by its cover. And why law of attraction isn't... There's like layers within that, because of what we carry from past life, because of what we carry from our genetic coding and ancestry. And so where someone finds themselves in this present moment, just because they have lots of money doesn't mean they're vibrating true abundance from this broader scape, from this more aware new paradigm, 0 point benevolent unfolding for our humanity's evolution, right? It's that as people are breaking free from the old construct, they might be some of the wealthiest people in the world, and yet they're heading in for a breakdown, or they're heading in for a downturn cycle in their evolution, right? Go to sleep, not so fancy Nancy. Thank you for being here as well. So yeah, non-judgment, the end of confusion, and it's a true birthing from the one as the self as one. And so you're so merged with your reality and with your higher self that doubt energy, mainly doubt energy, I'd say, is just less and less and less. And there's just this presence in wherever the energy field is is moving, and a continual awareness of the kind of flip of the paradigm, where in any given moment we're always working out, especially in the downturns, we're always working out kind of past stories and as such, or future projections that are no longer in alignment with the truth of the knowing in the here now. But it is shape-shifting because we are all one, and there's different aspects happening from within the collective energy field, and the more we feel into that, the more we can empower ourselves to really vision the highest for all. And that is, again, from this 0 point. The highest for all don't look like everybody living in mansions and driving big cars. Like, that's the flip of it, that the highest for all is a more peaceful, more grounded, still, I would say, kind of cutting edge, luxurious, sustainable, in harmony with the planet's natural creative biosphere, and how it works on that plant level. And that's essentially what we're merging with, is the plant, the seed, and the plant essence of perpetual blossoming in various forms. Hence why, you know, in a woodland, the groupings of trees are different than in a tropical climate. Similarly, different people and pockets around the globe in new paradigm manifestation are birthing slightly different civilizations, different tribes, and yet the 0 point means we're not operating from a corrupted motherboard any longer, and thus it's not what's reflecting back. Hence why we're living through this great awakening and shift. As a larger collective, so check out the Sasha Stone interview, and then look at his New Earth project and the Humanitad University. These are people I've just hung out with, and yeah, and really felt the resonance with New Paradigm. Hence, true authenticity versus people pleasing. None of these people are like squeaky clean spiritual necessarily. None of them, like, there's just an authentic creatorship and ownership. And everyone's got slightly different points of view, and everyone's got a little bit of a different edge to it all, and yet there's a harmony within the vision that Sasha's kind of allowed to be birthed from within himself and within his collective. You wouldn't say he is the only founder. He's a co-founder of this movement, which is leaning us toward an event horizon where it's and we're living in the new, right? And this is a perpetual moment to moment unfolding, and yet within that seed, it's here now because it's being born, and people like myself can honestly intuitively guide us to say the motherboard has been swiped. The spiritual warfare that's been imprinting the dominant divide conquer enslavement system on this planet, and because we know spirit is creating the virtual reality, the spiritual, the darker energy motherboard is gone. So actually we have a lot more clear space channel to focus our energies on this new creation. Yeah, a video, so it would be basically the most recent upload, Sasha Stone, interview with New Earth Project founder, and then he's got loads of different like organizations and things that are moving us to that, and an actual base of humans vibrating on this frequency in Ubud, or close to Ubud in Bali, Indonesia. And then communities and hubs in, I think he said, London and also LA. And hence why we could rest in our knowing, rest in our personal knowing that we don't feed the fear. It's over for that game. That game is just like, wow. Hence why it's like all the darkest, shittiest shit of pedophilia and satanic ritual, all that's now coming up. That's like the darkest of the dark of our human enslavement patterning and behavior, and feeding these dark enslavement energies. That's like, oh, look, wow, that's really dark, and so we harmonize that from within, and then we're like, okay, now we're gonna just be vibrating on this much higher level. We're gonna break free. We're claiming our sovereignty. Oh yeah, sovereignty. and be in the new, which more and more of us are just living in the new for sure, because that's all that I come into contact with are people vibrating that and knowing and living it, and it looks different for everybody, right? So yeah, you can check that out. So yeah, this is something I think I was leaning to this and I never finished it. So physical, practical things that I can see us doing en masse. By the way, I'm based in a place called Devon in England. Hey, Kurt Mill. Nice to see you. So I'm based in the UK. I am in London occasionally and work online doing this. By the way, you guys, I really appreciate your guys' donation for this channel, as well as you guys who are booking calls. It's mega love hot vibrashe. It's helping everything keep ticking along, you know, while we're still shifting and moving into this more abundant, harmonious, and free flow state. So physical things, and these are things that I'll be able to link in and offer at some point as I endeavor them. So I've endeavored the soul contract revocation. So this is that kind of spiritual entanglement with these sort of invisible, it's very representative actually of the world, the fine print, and how baffle-gaffy the whole fucking law system and criminal system is, right? Because it's done almost like purposely to be like, huh? Yeah. So it's like anyone can rule, basically. So in the soul contract sense, there is that kind of slyness. And yet, with greater awareness and greater teachers and more embodied pure heart channels, we're finding tools, teams, groups, ceremonies, and ways to basically revoke the contract and be like, y'all don't own me no more. I'm aware of what's going on, and I can reintegrate. I can take back my power from those contracts, which we all endeavor into to make manifest here, because it's like a gift. It's such a joyful gift to make manifest in form on this planet. This planet is glorious and like paradise. So we all want to be here. It's just that there's like these little I guess loopholes we jump through to descend, and then our task is the merging of self, right? Our task is to remember our power so that we can free this earth realm from that level of disparity, that level of darkness, that level of enslavement in itself, right? So it rises to a more divine blueprint. It rises, or expands rather, into this more divine state of consciousness, which we're kind of along for the ride, you could say. So that's one aspect of our, you know, physical, practical things we can do to break free: is soul contract revocation. Message me, I can talk to you about people doing that here in Devon. And there's also more to the story of actually revoking our bond. So when we are born, we all have birth certificates, we get our papers, yada yada. That's an actual enslavement system in and of itself, that we're then sold as slaves on the bond market. Does that make right? Stock market or whatever. Now this is more of this kind of weird, dark, insidious shit that we're all having to just be like, what? That's actually happening? Yeah. And again, it's think of, wow, isn't it cunning and clever? Wow, like we're capable of that, but do we really want to be doing that? It's kind of ick, right? So we just own it as what it is. And I've met a human very recently, guided into my reality. Oh, brilliant. Okay, so if you've cut that up, that's one angle for sure. And the other angle is actually another sovereign piece of paper that, and I don't exactly, don't verbatim me here, I'll get more information about this, but this is somebody who's actually like in paper and like fingerprint and certain ways of writing language, right? It's like reclaiming your sovereignty from the state. And then that would essentially free you from the taxation system and empower you to just be able to create whatever you want in this earth field, because you're no longer a bonded slave to that hologram, that matrix system that we all have so enjoyed playing around in for a while. And yet it's like, bleh, over now. So And that's not, and that's like, I've been addressed a little bit more with my language and some of my reactions, and that's not like, again, with utmost respect. We don't want to have any kind of negative edge against the system anymore, against the matrix or hologram, because any kind of negative whatevs can still feed it as a reality, rather than just being like, thank you so much, love, heart, vibrashe to the matrix and the system and all this darkness. Like, my love and light and my true power as divine, conscious, beautiful creator can like enfold that darkness a million times over and just make it into beautiful bunnies and butterflies if I wanted to. That's the true power of our creatorship. It's taken just many decades to disentangle the energetic triggers that would bind me to its reality as truth, rather than the truth of like this compassionate heart that's been like, can't we all just get along and be nice to each other? And like, and they're again kind of squashing the naivety of it. It's interested in bringing down the system for everyone. I am a programmer. It's technology. The best technology wins. Oh, you. Thank you for piping up about that. The Matrix tech is old. We just need a new decentralized internet for us. Scott, I want to talk more for sure about that. I'm sure this is something I've put into the ether as far as aligning with more tech wizards types. Yes. And this is something you might navigate in New Earth Project, and yet something we could choose to pioneer. Oh, you already have it. Fantastic. And where are you in the world, by the way? Are you in the United States? Hey, Truth Kindness! Oh, I love it when some of you guys pop up. Yeah, New York City area. Fantastic. Okay, I'm gonna sign off now, you guys. Thank you so much for being here and having this discussion. I just increasingly am like so in love with this community and so thankful for you. One of you we've been messaging, you know, it's been so kind of dark and twisted and lonely, and then suddenly it's like, there's others who get it and are not gonna make me feel horrible. How do we message? You can email molly@alltolove.com. Oh, or check the description, dude. There should be a means of either contacting me through the website or emailing me personally or Team Love. And hey, Truth Kindness, what did you all say there, honey? I've never been to NYC. Always wanted to do, since watching Sesame Street, classic. Yeah, NYC, I dig the New York City vibes. Yes, just reach out, get in touch. I'd love to have a continuing dialogue around that. It seems to be all really coming in quickly. Oh, Kurt Mill. I'm looking forward to, I'll probably do a share tomorrow. Now, tomorrow's a new moon. Not that I'm following moon cycles anymore, but that's fine. 2019, it'll be 10 years since MJ died. I'm feeling into that. That's symbolic of something, isn't it? Okay, so Kurt Mill, I'm always interested to know about your insights according to planetary activity, because there's always a really nice feedback resonance with your collective insights around that. And tomorrow is the new moon, so I will endeavor to share, obviously, tomorrow. I can't stop myself, even when I'm like, I need rest. I think I'm gonna go down for like a week of rest, and then like 2 days or 1 day later, I'm like, hello, you guys, what's going on? And again, the insights are just like, so kind of continuous and energizing that one wants to, hence, since kind of the work I do with y'all is just permissioning you to just be the light that you're desiring to see, because there's a path for you already laid out. It's already like predestined from the higher divine orders. Oh, Michael Jackson. I'm like, oh, well, I'm sure he's, you know, kind of a prophet, as it were, but no, what, Truth Kindness, what I was sort of getting at was like, I had these awakenings when I was 19, and so I was thinking, wait, has it been 20 years? No, that's not right. But anyway, I was having a moment of thinking like, yeah, that MJ is sort of dead, you could say, and yet very much alive in the eternal realms, right? Oh, MJ, Michael Jackson. Well, maybe we listen to a bit of MJ and celebrate the life and the legacy. So yeah, thanks you guys. So Kurt Mill, I'll probably endeavor to share around this time tomorrow if it's like 5:30 or something my time. Um, I feel you. The last week or so, and even I'm sure last night there was another clear out downturn for sure. Depths, heavinesses. There's so the polarity is that more minds are waking up. Um, Not a whole lot except for just love and grace and miraculous alignments. That was like my Christmas present to myself in Ubud, at New Earth Haven, right? Okay, cool. Well, and it's never any pressure, but like as and when you tune in, and then any cool insights or whatevs that you want to share via the comments, I always enjoy reading them and appreciate them because some of y'all have much greater insights on lots of different topics or whatever. So it's always like feedbacking more of sort of elevated thought. So yeah, just break free and be the true you, and you don't need to read books to find out who you are, and you don't, although don't deny yourself the privilege and pleasure. I mean, I read for years and years and years, just couldn't stop reading about esoteric and spiritual teachings and blah blah. And yet again, it always comes back to, but it's just my own perception. It's all coming from within self. How can these, eventually the books can become just like a loop of disempowerment, weirdly, right? Oh, well done. Feeling your emotions. Oh. Oh, yeah, no pressure. No pressure, and this has come up before. Okay, cool. So just email me. I look forward to dialoguing with you. Ah! Oh my gosh. So that took me forever, and now you're all gone and that's okay because my phone died. I it was coming up a couple times saying that my battery was low, and then she just went black on me. So I do apologize for not being able to say a proper goodbye, but then I realized that the YouTube was still like holding it as like I was still live even though I wasn't live. So now I'm back because it's still here being like, do you want to continue streaming? I'm like, sure, I'll just say goodbye to everybody. But as per usual, you guys, thank you all for being here, and I look forward to speaking to you real soon. So there's like some astrological event demain, solar eclipse, I think, something like that. So yeah, big, shifty, awesome times for all us conscious creators. I love you guys so much. I look forward to speaking with you and just continuing this wild, epic ride. Love you, bye.